Hey everyone, welcome back. Today, I'm going to show off a team that got me to top 20 in the world. It's a team with Charjabug, Trevenant, and Vigoroth, so not a super spicy team, but it's a team that honestly worked really well in the meta today, and even though it does have something that's kind of weak to, like fire-type leads, and a few other tricky matchups, it's still a very strong team. Let's take a look at the battles. Alright, getting into game number 1 here, we have our Charjabug into a Toxapex. This is a fantastic lead, we have a lot of electric-type damage, but they safe swap Trevenant. Trevenant is a solid answer here to Charjabug. It's honestly a pretty good Pokemon to my whole team, right? I have a Trevenant in the back, I have a Vigoroth, and my Charjabug is not really wanting to be in this matchup, so we're going to swap out to our own Trevenant after taking the shield. We're going to throw the Seed Bomb on CMP. I know they're at back-to-back Seed Bombs now, so it's likely they're just going to go for a Seed Bomb bait here. So we'll call the first move here, and even if they do get the 2 Seed Bombs off, which they should, I'll be able to honestly just no-shield this, farm this down with my Charjabug, because a lot of things that pair with Toxapex are still kind of weak to Charjabug in the back. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to swap back here into my Charjabug, farm this down, and try to go from there, see how they want to play it out. They actually are going to hard pivot into their Toxapex here. They don't let their Trevenant go down, so they invested a shield for switch advantage, but then they didn't even want to keep it. This makes me think that they're pretty weak to our Charjabug here. They're trying to keep their Trevenant alive to maybe get it aligned in here at the end game, but unfortunately their Trevenant is so low, and at this point I can just shield this up, farm to 2 moves, and put them in a very awkward position. If they are ABA weak to Charjabug, like it kind of seems like they are, we're going to be able to have so much energy coming out of this matchup to throw into whatever comes in now. Trevenant's almost knocked out, so they can't come in there. It's likely going to be the third Pokemon coming in here, and we're going to see that it's actually going to be the Ferrothorn. This is a pretty common duo. I see Toxapex Ferrothorn quite often here in Summer Cup, so having the Core Breaker here with Charjabug is really nice to see. We're going to throw our moves here. We're going to see if they're going to try to catch, which they do, and just fast move down the Trevenant. And now we have an X-Scissor loaded to throw against this Ferro, and our Vigoroth in the back is going to be in a very good spot to finish off this game. We'll swap it in here. And now we can just kind of fast move this down. Our charge moves don't really do anything here, so I'll just tap all the way through this Ferro, and that should be a nice win here in game number 1. Alright, getting on into our next matchup, Charjabug into the Kingdra. Honestly, I really have been hating Kingdra here in Summer Cup. It's such an offensive powerhouse. It's very slow, but it's so offensive that it doesn't really matter how slow it is when you just kind of shred through everything with Dragon Breath pressure. It also has the ability to debuff you 50% of the time with Octazooka, and like the bait and nuke shenanigans that this thing has, it's just so awkward, right? They could potentially outrage me here, which they actually do, so I lose all of my energy. If that was an Octazooka, I could have survived that and got my next X-Scissor off, but unfortunately, because of the outrage there, it was a very smart call by them. My Charjabug goes down. Our Vigoroth can come in and just try to knock this thing out now, and we see that it's a Bubble Jellicent coming in, and then a Diggersby in the back. Now, Diggersby used to be a pretty hard answer to Trevenant, but this is a quick attack Diggersby, which first of all means it's going to be slower to get into these fire punches, and second of all, Seed Bomb got buffed. So now, even though you don't two-shot it straight up with these Seed Bombs, after these Shadow Claws, it's actually a pretty comfortable matchup here for Trevenant up shields. And since we're up shields and up energy, we're going to be able to outpace here to the moves. I know that Shadow Ball is what's going to one-shot me this game. Fire Punch is not, so I'm going to no-shield this move, save the shield for the potential Shadow Ball from the Jellicent, farm this thing all the way down with Shadow Claw, and then hopefully I can get to 2 Seed Bombs against that Jellicent before they get to 2 moves. At this point, I'm basically in Surf range, so that's all I have to go for if they happen to get to those 2 moves, but Bubble is a bit of a slower energy generation move than Hex would be, so we're not going to have to really worry about that. We should be able to get to 2 Seed Bombs here. They're going to throw a Surf at us. Unless they're at back-to-back Surfs, then there's no way our Trevenant's going to go down here. And, even if they are, our Vigoroth is still very healthy. We can get to the rock slides and knock them out there. We get the Seed Bomb off. With the Seed Bomb buff, is it enough? It just barely is. And we get the knockout on the Jellicent and take the game. Alright, going up next against King GBL, a great battler, a great YouTuber. They have the Shadow Pidgeot lead, a very scary lead to see. But we have our Charjabug into that. They safe swap a quick attack Diggersby. We have our Vigoroth we're going to swap in. It's a pretty solid answer here. But I do know that quick attack Diggersby is able to win the Zero Shield matchup straight Scorching Sands. I also see that they build up a ton of energy here. No, surely this is not a Hyper Beam, right? There's no way a Diggersby would Hyper Beam me. Yeah, there it is. The Hyper Beam comes through. They're going to get Switch advantage here. If they would have gone double Scorching Sands, I could have shielded 1 to keep Switch. But now they flipped Switch, and this is so awkward. Now they have a potential to get their Pidgeot locked into my Trevenant, and if the final Pokemon is RPS into my Charjabug, then I kind of just lose that game because of that the Hyper Beam there. Fortunately, since we're not running Fire Punch, we can absorb energy with our Trevenant and farm down, and we swap back into our Charjabug, It's a Vigoroth on the back. This isn't the worst case scenario. We can start spamming off these X Scissors, and since we have an energy lead, we should be able to get to 2 before they get to a single move here. But we don't choose to throw just yet, because if we did throw that X Scissor, it wouldn't quite knock out yet. I want to bank up energy so I can have energy to throw into that Pidgeot. I need to start stripping shields as soon as I can, and I am seeing a bit of a way to win this game. It's a weird and convoluted way. It wouldn't be as straightforward as if I just RPS them and kept switch advantage, but I'm thinking at this point, if I can get enough Discharge or X Scissor, no, Volt Switch, that's the name of the move. If I can get enough Volt Switch damage off, I might be able to put them into range of C-Bomb from Trevenant. I've already got them below half health. I can shield this, get their final shield. Then Trevenant, even though it's a pretty bad matchup into this normal and flying type, it should be able to close out this game. Discharge is going to get this last shield. We're going to swap into Trevenant, and I don't think a C-Bomb's quite enough to knock out, so we're going to build it to 2 here. We actually CMP here, so they're likely at the back-to-back Aerial Ace now, but we are at the back-to-back C-Bomb ourselves, so we can take this game after this Aerial Ace comes through. We have the C-Bomb, make sure to tap on it, and then we can take the game, take out the Pidgeot here with our Trevenant. The bird that normally would hard counter us is no more. We take the game once again with the Trevenant in the back. All right, next matchup here, we are going to have our Charjabug lead into a Lickitung. All right, I don't know how to feel about this lead, right? My Trevenant doesn't want to see this, but my Vigoroth in the back is likely not going to have much play, right? When you have a Pokemon so weak to Vigoroth like this in lead, I'm kind of expecting things like, maybe Bubble Jellicent, maybe like those types like Skeliderge, maybe a Poliwrath or something. We haven't seen too many Poliwraths, but things that just hard answer Vigoroth in the back seem pretty likely to me. That said, we'll probably have a lot of play here with our Trevenant. So I'm kind of happy just staying in this soft losing this lead matchup and seeing how they want to play it out. 2 X Scissors here, we'll get the Lickitung low. So now even if they ever choose to swap out here, I'm going to have the ability to maybe farm this down with a Trevenant. And if they just stay with my Vigoroth, I'll be able to farm this down and have some energy to throw into whatever comes in. They do end up taking some counters, but then they swap into Charjabug. Since they swap here, I'm thinking, there still could be a harder answer in the back to a Vigoroth, so maybe I just stay in this matchup, right? And I'm also thinking, right, since there probably is that hard Vigoroth answer in the back, they're not going to want to shield their Charjabug here. They're probably just going to want to let this go and make it so that their third Pokemon is going to have a lot of play. They do let it go, and we can catch the move here. I didn't really try to catch the move. I just wanted to get the Shadow Claw down here. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to shield this once. We should be able to Shadow Claw down before they get to their next X Scissor. And now we're loaded on our Trevenant. We still have a bit of health and a lot of energy on our Vigoroth. And, I know there's that Lickitung still, but I think I can Shadow Claw that down after the counter damage I got onto it. Yeah, it does come back in, and they do get to a move here. Hopefully it's just a Body Slam, but even a Power Whip would be resisted, so it's not going to do that much. Yeah, we're just under half health here, and we'll see what the third Pokemon is. For a second, I thought it would be a Trevenant. That would have been a bit awkward, but no, that's a Decidueye. So a pretty decent answer here to Vigoroth, but luckily we have Trevenant still alive, who has so much Shadow Claw fast move pressure, whereas the Decidueye here only has Leafage, which is resisted. So I have super effective damage, they have resisted damage, and since they let that go, I can just Shadow Claw this all the way down here and take the win. Trevenant is going to be able to close out this game here. It's going to Shadow Claw down the Lickitung. It's going to Shadow Claw down the Decidueye. It would have Shadow Clawed down the Charjabug if they would have let me as a Trevenant sweep, in my opinion. If they would have not top lefted, it would have been. This next game, we have the Cradily lead, which honestly, Cradily is a little bit awkward to see for our Charjabug. We can win the Zero Shield matchup, but 4-turn moves into 3-turn moves are always so awkward for the 4-turn move to actually try to time. So what we're going to do, we're going to have to throw in somewhat bad timing here to win this Zero Shield matchup, but we do get to the first, the 2 moves before they get to their 2 moves, and X Scissor is super effective here. So the 2 X Scissors are going to come through. We'll see how they want to play it out. I think I'm just going to sack my Charjabug here because, honestly, I don't really have a weakness to Cradily on this team. I have Vigoroth in the back, and I have my Trevenant as well. They're both pretty strong matchups here. They actually just hard swapped to a Jellicent, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in Trevenant, and that, I'm pretty sure, was only 4 hexes. I know 100% of the time this is just a Surf. They're probably just trying to trip me down before I can knock them out with my Seed Bomb, but we can get to the Seed Bomb now before their next Surf, and we have energy. We have quite a bit of health left over on both our Vigoroth and our Trevenant here, and they come back in with Cradily, which is really interesting to me. I want to know what's the third at this point. Are they kind of like really weak to Trevenant with this team? Because so far they haven't really had a true answer to it. I can build it to the back-to-back Seed Bombs here. If they end up shielding this, I have the back-to-back to throw, so, it's kind of in vain if they try to shield this move, which they do, actually. They shield it, and now I'll have my Trevenant up a shield and a full health Vigoroth against whatever the third Pokemon is. It's actually going to be a Toxapex that comes in here. As long as I can get to the Shadow Ball, I'm pretty confident in my abilities to finish this game off with my Vigoroth. The Shadow Ball is a very hard-hitting move. I know Toxapex is pretty bulky, but it's not bulky enough to survive this, plus the 2 body slams that I know my Vigoroth can get. And I know I survive a Sludge Wave because, honestly, Toxapex, it's a very bulky Pokemon. Sludge Wave might be a strong move, and we're going to see, I guess I no-shield this, just how little a Sludge Wave does in this matchup. I mean, that does a lot normally, right? But not when your Vigoroth is going to be basically at full health. It has 2 body slams already. Next matchup here, we're going to have our Charjabug lead into a Jellicent. This is a pretty decent lead just because we don't want to see it on our Vigoroth, but they end up safe swapping with the Kingdra. Again, I don't have a hard Kingdra answer on this team, no Dragon Resist, so I'm going to try to chip this down and maybe swap out later to see what they want to do. I know that, this could be a potential Outrage, it could be an Octazooka, but I'm just going to no-shield it. Hopefully it's just the Octazooka, which it is. We don't get debuffed as well, which is nice to see. Are they going to shield this or are they going to no-shield it? They do end up no-shielding it. We saw that it was Bubble on that Jellicent, so our Trevenant's going to be a pretty good answer into that anyway. So I'm not too worried about keeping my Charjabug alive for it. And we see a very awkward Pokemon to try to deal with here. That's a Jumpluff. Jumpluff is not a very common Pokemon in this meta, but it's a Pokemon that my Trevenant wouldn't really want to see because Acrobatics would basically one-shot me. I know that I can get to these 2 X-Scissors here, but they make a nice catch on Jellicent. Fortunately, as I said, I do have a nice answer to this Jellicent in the back with my Trevenant, so I'm just going to try to get as much energy out of this matchup as I can. And I know since they did 1 bubble in the lead, they were only 4 bubbles off of their Shadow Ball, so I'm going to throw this on CMP. It might be a bit of a crazy CMP, but I knew for sure that they'd have to throw then, right? They probably wouldn't expect me to throw on what would have been bad timing if they didn't CMP that move, and I wanted to get their shield before I, would have to use mine. Now that we got that shield from them, I'm fine double shielding my Trevenant here, and we can start Shadow Balling that Jumpluff. Even though I don't have a hard Jumpluff answer on this team, after I get the Shadow Ball off, I already got an X-Scissor off too. It's going to basically be in range where my Vigoroth is going to be able to just Rock Slide it and knock them out. And I'm swapping to my Charjabug here, not because I'm trying to make a catch or anything, but because I know that they'd have to throw a move, or else they'd have to take another X-Scissor here before they can farm me down. They've been well over 100 energy this whole time, so I can just come in with Trevenant, force them to throw a nuke here. It's going to have to be an Acrobatics to knock me out, which it is. And now they're not anywhere near the 2 moves they're going to need to have to knock out my Vigoroth. We can get the Body Slam here, and Vigoroth is going to be able to take the game. Jumpluff is such a unique pick. I love seeing it here. It's a pick I was kind of considering running myself today, but ended up going the Charjabug route, and honestly, I'm so glad I did. This team was working out so well for me. Now we have the Vigoroth into the Charjabug. This is a pretty weird matchup, because Vigoroth does have Rock Slide, right, but we're resisting the counter fast move pressure. So, it's good, it's bad, it's interesting here, right? So the X-Scissors are going to start coming through. I normally like to just play out the Zero Shield matchup here, because I know that a lot of the time they're just going to Body Slam me, and I know I can get this X-Scissor off before they're going to get their next Body Slam, unless they're like a really high attack Vigoroth, and they try to risk the CMP, which luckily here they don't. X-Scissor is going to come through here. It's probably going to take the shield, and it does. Are they going to Body Slam me, or are they going to Rock Slide? I think that I might barely survive a Body Slam, but I wouldn't survive the counters. So I'm just going to save my Charjabug, swap hard into my Vigoroth here. Well, now I have a potential sack swap in the back, and we do kind of bait this thing out so my Trevenant doesn't want to, or doesn't need to see it in the back. My Trevenant, well, it's a good matchup into a lot of these bulkier Pokemon. You'd rather not have your Trevenant locked in there. So we're going to have our Vigoroth just try to spam its way through this matchup. I could still probably survive a Sludge Wave from this range, so I might no-shield it, I might shield it, I don't quite remember here. Looks like I do end up shielding it. It's actually a Brine, so a bit of a bad shield on my end, but I think either way, it's probably a good thing to shield that just to guarantee that I can get this Body Slam off. If I let this go, then my Trevenant's going to be taking a lot of fast move pressure, and, I guess we can also no-shield this too. It's probably going to be another Brine, right? And maybe we can get to another Body Slam. And we can, so who do they catch that on? They actually caught on Ferrothorn. Good catch by them, but our Trevenant should be in a pretty good matchup here to just build up energy, hopefully get the Shadow Ball off. And if my counts were correct, that's not a Flash Cannon. That's at most a Mirror Shot. Well, it could have been maybe a Power Whip, but a Mirror Shot is what is coming through there. Mirror Shot, not exactly the best move in the game, so we were able to just tank a couple of these. The worst case scenario is that they start getting Mirror Shot debuffs, and then my Shadow Ball might not knock them out. Fortunately, the first one didn't debuff. Hopefully this next one doesn't as well. If it does, I guess we'll try to play around it. But we can get to the next Shadow Ball here before they get their next Mirror Shot. I think they could have CMP'd me there, but it doesn't really matter, saying I'm going to get the knockout here with this Shadow Ball anyway. And now we know that there's that Vigoroth here. Vigoroth is going to get to a move. We'll shield it up, and the only way I lose this game right now is if the Toxapex can also get to a move. So when I see that Toxapex come in eventually, I'm just going to throw the Seed Bomb as quickly as I can. Guarantee they can't brine me or doing anything crazy to make it so that Vigoroth could like somehow counter me down, being to Shadow Claw through the rest of the matchup here, and Trevenant once again sweeps the endgame. Alright, Charjabug is going to be met with a Girafarig this game. Bit of an awkward lead here, because Confusion does do a lot of damage. You know, bug types in general, you'd think would be pretty strong against these psychic types. But the problem with this matchup is they're just having so much fast move pressure that they can psychic things, and then they can probably 2-shield all the way through me. I'm hoping right now that I survive this, because if I do, that means I can take both shields from them without needing to shield a single time, and Charjabug survives on basically 1 HP there. If they would have thrown the Psychic Fangs immediately, I probably wouldn't have survived that move, because I would have taken more from the Confusion fast move pressure. Fortunately for me, though, they don't throw the debuffing move as quickly as they could, which means that I was able to get to the 2 X-Scissors and take both shields. Now Vigoroth should be able to farm down. We'll see what comes in here. It's a Vigoroth. A bit of an awkward matchup for my own Vigoroth now that I'm debuffed in my defense stat, so I'm just going to throw the Body Slam, then swap to my Trevenant. What I'm hoping for right now is the fact that after that Body Slam and counter damage I got on there, that I'll be able to get them knocked out with a Seed Bomb after the Shadow Claw damage that I'm getting onto them. They did do a nice Body Slam bait there, so I'm forced to throw my Seed Bomb a little bit earlier than I'd like to, but this is still good. We have a lot of energy on our Trevenant. We still have health and shield advantage, and it's a Greedent. So, funny thing about Greedent in this meta, I've seen a lot of Greedents run Trailblaze. If it's the Trailblaze Body Slam moveset, honestly, this thing is absolutely terrible into Trevenant. Even if it's Crunch, I'm pretty sure I survive one from here, and I should get another Seed Bomb off onto this Greedent. This one is running Trailblaze. I saw one Crunch Greedent today, I didn't know if that was this game or not, but no, that's a Trailblaze, so we easily survived this move. Now Vigoroth's going to be able to just fast move this thing all the way down. They come back in with Girafarig, but we can counter that down before they get to another move, and that should just be game. GG's to them. Shadow Girafarig, a very scary Pokemon a lot of the time, but luckily Charjabug was able to neutralize it. Tropius lead is kind of where I want to see it, right? My Vigoroth doesn't want to see this. My Trevenant really doesn't want to see this. And so I'm just going to try to stay in the lead, but they try to catch my move. Very nice attempt, but I have a hard answer for this Whiscash with my Trevenant. Trevenant's going to be able to absorb these Scalds. This is a non-Shadow Whiscash as well, which means they're not even going to be able to threaten a 2-shot with Scald if they would try something like that. They do get a debuff, so I guess that Scald nerf didn't really do much for me there. But, you know, we are going to be able to still one-shot them because Seed Bomb is such a strong move. And if they ever let us get to a Shadow Ball here, we're in a very good spot. If this is an Ace, they dump a ton of energy. If it's a Leaf Blade, which it actually was, we're going to be able to still get this Shadow Ball off. Shadow Ball probably does more damage still than an X-Scissor, even after that debuff. So I'm totally fine making this trade, giving them a bit of extra energy. As long as they allowed me to land that Shadow Ball, that's awesome. And then they come in with the Diggersby. Our Vigoroth's going to be able to swap into this matchup. And as long as they don't Hyper Beam me, we're in a good spot. But you can tell this isn't a Hyper Beam. They threw way too early for that. So I'll just no-shield this to guarantee that we'll no-shield a non-Hyper Beam move. I don't want to get beamed again today. And now that we no-shielded that properly, we still have 2 shields. We're going to be able to start spamming out Body Slams into this Diggersby. And we have so much energy left over on our Charjabug that Tropius is really not that big of a threat for us. Body Slam spam's coming through here. And I'll just shield this farm down, because I can also get some Body Slams into that Tropius to start whittling it down a little bit more and finishing it off. They do get a debuff there, so maybe a Body Slam wouldn't quite threaten them. But, I mean, at this point, it doesn't really matter. If they no-shield this, I can start fast-moving down their Tropius. If they shield it, then I can double X-Scissor, which it looks like they do end up shielding it, so X-Scissor's coming through. Are they going to still play out this game? Honestly, this game is a very losing matchup. I'm surprised they're staying in here. They're throwing energy. They're really trying to play this one out. This game would have been over a long time ago if they would have top lefted when they saw that Vigoroth into the Diggersby, but I guess they're still trying here. I'm trying to give them a chance to top left to expedite the game, but they don't do it, so I go for the discharged BM a little bit here. You know, they're playing out a losing matchup here, so I gotta BM back a little bit. Alright, there we go. We got the game win eventually with our Charjabug, and now getting into the next game, Charjabug lead into Charjabug. Alright, a very interesting mirror match. Normally, 2 good Charjabugs, when they're fighting each other in the lead matchup, can actually get to 3 X-Scissors. It's a 1 HP survive when they get to that final X-Scissor, so it does come down to who wins CMP. Sometimes I win it. My Charjabug is pretty high rank, though, so it's not a guaranteed win in CMP. It's just something that it can happen, but you don't really want to bank on it here. You can just build back up to these X-Scissors. It looks like I do win CMP there. I didn't see a Volt Switch come through, which means it was very likely a CMP. We can get the X-Scissor off. And yes, as you can see, that is like just a 1 HP survive here. We're both going to probably survive on just about this much HP. And then one more Volt Switch, and the person who wins CMP can get that move off. They come in with Jellicent. They make a nice catch, so they saved an X-Scissor in the back, and they made a nice catch on Jellicent here. But since this is a bubble Jellicent, I'm able to get this C-Bomb off before they get a move, and I've honestly taken no damage. If they shield this, it's honestly not that bad of a situation for me. They end up no-shielding it, honestly. Good play. If they start shielding that, I can start banking up even more energy. So they just wanted to sack their Jelly at that point. We see a Greedent come in. And at this point, I know I've basically won this game, especially after that C-Bomb is able to land. Even if this is a crunch, which I think it probably is. Yeah, this is the crunch Greedent I was talking about. I still survived that. They're going to have to throw a move at me if they want to knock me out. And the second that they no-shielded that first C-Bomb, I know I can just counter it all the way down with my Vigoroth. And even though they do have a move loaded on their Charjabug, it's not going to matter. They need to get to like 4 or 5 moves to be able to knock out my Vigoroth, at least through all the shields that I have, and they're not going to be able to do that. I'm going to throw our Vigoroth here, and we're going to just start countering it all the way down. They are playing it out. They're going to start Body Slam spamming, and Body Slam is a 3-shot here on Vigoroth, so if they can get to 3 Body Slams, well, I guess they'd have to get to 4, really. We get a nice frame drop there, which cost us a fast move. So, I don't think it's going to matter this game, but this Greedent technically shouldn't be able to get to another move here. And since they swap out like that, they don't even get their move off with Charjabug. They transfer the counter damage, and we get the knockout there. All right, next matchup, another Cradily lead. This one's always awkward, as I was saying. We do somehow win the Zero Shield matchup, but we have to throw on absolutely terrible timing to do so. So that's what I'm going to do here. I'm going to throw another Volt Switch, then try to throw the back-to-back X-Scissor, which will give them a Bullet Seed sneak. I don't like doing this. It hurts the inner perfectionist here, throwing on such bad timing, but it's what you got to do sometimes. Sometimes throwing on bad timing is somewhat optimal, so that's what we did here. Get the shield advantage, and then I'm going to swap to my Vigoroth. We're met by a water... no, this isn't a water, and this is a bubble Jellicent. And it's going to start having a lot of fast move pressure into me. The only good thing about this matchup is we don't have to try to deal with this anymore with our Trevenant. I know that it's a water fast move here on this Jellicent, so it's not that bad for Trevenant. But, it's still worse than, if there's a Whiscash or something, right? This thing could one-shot our Trev, so we're just trying to whittle this thing down as much as we can. And another kind of decent thing about this is they do have to throw 2 moves here. They can't bubble me down before I get to the 3 rock slides. They know that. So what I need to do now is just farm this down with our Trev. Can we get the farm down before they get the Shadow Ball? It looks like just barely can. And what is their third? It's a Skeliderge. This is very scary here. I'm hoping that they no-shield this. I could have gone for the bait, which might have been a good play, but they do shield it up. This is so scary. Look at this fast move pressure. Is there any chance I win this game? Well, there might be. I transfer the Incinerate damage, so now I'm 1 Shadow Claw off. I will never take that Incinerate. And they come back in with Cradily. So I'm seeing the win condition here now. All I have to do is build up to back-to-back Seed Bomb plus Shadow Ball, and I should have the win. I'm 1 Shadow Claw off of being able to do that. As long as they're not at back-to-back rock sides right now, I should be able to have this. I get the next Shadow Claw, I get the Seed Bomb, and I have the Shadow Ball loaded. So a game that was looking almost unwinnable there once we saw that Bubble Jellicent and then that Skeliderge in the back was just barely able to be won here with our Trevenant winning CMP over the Skeliderge and getting the Shadow Ball knockout. And that is going to be the game there. And now our next opponent is Charjabug, another Cradily lead. We know how we were going to play this out. We're just going to stay in the lead matchup here, try to win the Zero Shield, strip shields from it, and then sweep with our backline. Once this is gone, hopefully we're going to have a lot of play with our backline, just because we're going to have shield advantage with our Trevenant. I've seen, they actually swap here. So this person does have double grass, or ABA grass so far. It is Cradily, and then obviously Trevenant here in the back. And since they hard swapped here, I'm kind of thinking, like, what are the odds that my Vigoroth really has play in the back? We saw a Cradily lead. It's likely double ghost of some sort. It could be like a Jellicent or something in the back. So I want to save my my Trevenant if I can, and use my Vigoroth where I know it could be kind of useful. I'm going to throw this Rock Slide. They actually end up shielding it too, which I don't understand if that's a good shield or not, but it makes me wonder if my Vigoroth is good in the back. I throw the Body Slam here. I know that might be a weird play, but by throwing this Body Slam, I get a bit more damage. I know they would have never let me get the Rock Slide off, so now they're in range of 1 Shadow Claw. I know they probably think a Charjabug's going to come back in here, so I can actually get a Shadow Claw snipe down before they get their Shadow Ball. And now it's going to be Trevenant up energy against a Cradily and whatever the third Pokemon is. So we're going to have our Trevenant come in, and we're going to get this Shadow Ball off on good timing here. And we're going to see if we can make a fancy little play. If we do 1 Shadow Claw, and then swap, and then throw the X-Scissor, we can make a CMP sack swap here, which we are actually able to do. That means that we got the sack swap. I caught the move, and I get the X-Scissor off. And that is going to be game. You're not even going to be able to see what their third Pokemon is. Once you make a play like a CMP sack swap, it's very hard for your opponent to come back from it. So I'm pretty happy I was able to make that play. GG's to them. And honestly, Charjabug, it's just so good. And that's a 4-1 here. I think this set is what gets us into the 2700s here. It was a very, very nice run. We started the day, I think, in the 2600s. Yeah, look at that. 2731 right here. That is a new season high. We are under 20 points off of Expert. So tomorrow on my stream, I'm going to try my very best to hit Expert live on stream. If you want to see me there, it's I stream almost every day at twitch.tv/itsaxon. So make sure to follow me. Make sure to watch if you want to see. And, if I do get Expert, I'll definitely be uploading that here to YouTube. So subscribe if you want to see more. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.